What's up, you magnificent bastards? Welcome back. You ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Today we're going deep into a film so fucked up you'll be questioning everything. Your sanity, your life choices, your taste in movies.
Yeah.
Oldboy.
The 2003 South Korean one.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Not the American remake.
Yeah. That one's a different beast.
We'll get to that flusterfuck later. But first, let's talk about the original. The one that made people need therapy. This ain't no rom-com. This is some seriously disturbing shit. Brutal violence. Psychological torture.
Oh, and live octopus eating.
Yeah.
That scene.
That scene. To guide us through this cinematic hell, we've got the one and only expert on fucked up films.
That's my specialty, I guess. Oldboy is definitely a film that gets under your skin. Stays with you.
No kidding. So, basic plot. This dude, he gets kidnapped, right? Thrown into solitary confinement for 15 fucking years. No clue why.
Brutal.
Then, poof, he's out. Some cash, a cell phone, and a whole lot of what the fuck.
It's based on a Japanese manga, Oldboy, but don't think it's a straight adaptation.
Loosely based. How loose are we talking?
They took the core idea, the imprisonment, the sudden release, the revenge, and then they went nuts, especially with the ending.
Oh, the ending. We'll get to that. But first, let's talk about the acclaim. This movie, it won the Grand Prix at Cannes in 2004. That's a big fucking deal.
It is. Cannes is like the Olympics of film festivals. And the Grand Prix, that's like winning the gold medal.
And you know who loved this movie? Quentin Tarantino, the king of blood and guts himself. Praised it to high heaven.
Yeah, Tarantino is a huge fan of Asian cinema, especially Korean films. So his endorsement meant a lot. It brought Oldboy to a wider audience.
Even Roger Ebert, the godfather of film critics, was impressed. He said this movie strips bare the depths of the human heart. Deep shit, right?
It is. It's not just about the shocks, the violence. It's about the characters, the emotions, the darkness inside all of us.
And speaking of darkness, can we talk about that corridor fight scene? One long, unbroken shot. Pure, brutal mayhem.
That scene is iconic. It's not just the choreography, which is incredible, but the way it's filmed. That long take puts you right in the middle of the action. You feel every blow.
Yeah, makes you wince and cheer at the same time.
It's a perfect blend of style and substance. It tells you everything you need to know about Oh Dae-su, the main character, his rage, his desperation.
Oh, and the twists. This movie has more twists than a pretzel factory. Mindfuckery of the highest order.
It's a slow burn, man. It draws you in, makes you think you're figuring it out, and then bam, it pulls the rug out from under you.
Don't spoil it, but give us a taste. What makes these twists so damn effective?
It's the way they play with your expectations, the way they subvert the genre, and the way they tie into the film's themes of revenge, identity, and the past. You're never quite sure what's real, what's imagined. It's a puzzle box, and the pieces keep changing shape.
Right, and at the center of this puzzle is Oh Dae-su, our vengeful protagonist. I heard his name. It's significant.
It is, Dae-su. It sounds similar to Oedipus in Korean.
Oedipus? Like the dude who killed his dad and married his mom?
Yeah.
Are you shitting me?
Not exactly, but there are parallels. It's a nod to Greek tragedy, this idea of fate, free will, the cyclical nature of violence.
Holy shit, so this movie's going there. Deep.
Oh, it goes there. And then some. It's not just a revenge thriller. It's a Greek tragedy disguised as a bloodbath.
And did I mention this is part of a trilogy?
It is. The Vengeance Trilogy. Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Lady Vengeance. Each one is a masterpiece in its own right.
We'll have to do a whole other deep dive on those. But for now, let's stick with Oldboy. And let's talk about the elephant in the room, the octopus. That's
Oh, yeah. The octopus scene.
They use real octopuses, right? Live ones.
They did. It's called sanakji in Korea, a delicacy.
A delicacy. Chewing on a live octopus, that's some next level shit.
It's not for everyone, but it's a cultural thing, and it adds to the film's shock value.
No kidding. That scene made me gag. But hey, different strokes, right?
Right. It's all about context, but even in Korea, it's considered pretty hardcore.
Well, hardcore is a good word to describe Oldboy. This movie, it's a game changer. Influenced a whole generation of filmmakers. And of course, Hollywood had to try and remake it.
The American remake.
Yeah.
Not exactly a masterpiece.
So it sucked.
It's not terrible. It's just missing something. The soul, the rawness, the sheer audacity of the original.
So stick with the Korean version. Got it.
Definitely. You won't regret it.
All right, folks. We've covered the basics, the plot, the twists, the octopus, the remake. But before we go any deeper, I got to ask you this. If you were locked up for 15 years, no explanation, how fucked up do you think you'd be when you got out? Because me, I'd be chewing on the bars and talking to the rats.
It's a question that haunts the film. And us, the viewers. How much can we endure? What would we do for revenge? These are the questions that make Oldboy so powerful, so unsettling, so damn good. It makes you think, doesn't it, about the limits of human endurance, the darkness that lurks inside us all.
Deep shit, man. But hey, let's lighten things up a bit.
Uh-huh.
Let's talk about that hammer. Oh, Dae-su's weapon of choice. That thing was a goddamn beast.
The hammer, yeah, it's more than just a weapon, it's a symbol.
Of what? His rage, his brutality.
All of that, but also his imprisonment. He's been hammered down, literally and metaphorically, stripped of his identity, forced into this sick game.
And when he gets out, that hammer becomes his way of fighting back, reclaiming some control.
Exactly. It's a tool of empowerment, but it's also a reminder of the violence that consumes him.
Yeah. It's like he's trapped in this cycle of violence. He can't escape it, no matter how hard he tries.
That's the tragedy of it all. He becomes the hammer and the nail, a victim and a perpetrator.
Deep. Okay, now for something completely different. Remember that scene where Dae-su's eating dumplings? And suddenly, bam! Flashback to his high school days. Weird as fuck. Right?
That scene is brilliant. It disorients the audience, just like Dae-su is disoriented by his memories.
It's like the movie took a detour into some David Lynch fever dream. What was the point of that?
It foreshadows the twist to come, the idea that the past is never truly behind us, that our memories can haunt us in unexpected ways.
And that even something as simple as dumplings can trigger these powerful emotions. Buried secrets. Like every bite is a reminder of his past mistakes.
Exactly. Those dumplings become a symbol of his guilt, a past he can't escape.
Okay, enough with the appetizers. Let's get back to the main course. Those mind-blowing twists. We've been dancing around them long enough. Can we at least talk about how the film is structured? How it unravels like a puzzle box?
Oldboy is a masterclass in storytelling. It keeps you guessing, constantly subverting your expectations. The pacing is perfect. A slow burn that builds to a shocking climax.
And the way it jumps back and forth in time. The flashbacks. The non-linear storytelling. Just adds to the sense of unease and confusion.
It's all intentional. It's designed to keep you off balance, to make you question everything you see and hear.
And the music. That haunting, unsettling score. It's like the soundtrack to a nightmare you can't wake up from.
Speaking of nightmares, can we talk about the visual style of the film? It's so striking, so bold.
Yeah, it's beautiful and grotesque at the same time. It's not afraid to push boundaries.
The director uses color and composition in a really interesting way to convey emotion, to create this world that's both seductive and unsettling.
And there's this constant sense of claustrophobia. Even when Dae-su is free, you always feel like he's being watched, like the walls are closing in.
Right. And those long, unbroken shots, they're not just for show. They pull you into the action, make you feel every emotion.
Like you're right there with Dae-su, experiencing his pain, his rage, his despair.
It's a testament to the director's skill and the actor's commitment.
Speaking of the actors, Choi Min-sik as Oh Dae-su, phenomenal performance. He embodies the rage, the vulnerability, the desperation of this character.
He's utterly believable as a man driven to the edge. You can see the toll that revenge takes on him, physically and emotionally.
And Yoo Ji-tae as Woo-jin, the mastermind behind Dae-su's imprisonment.
Yeah.
So chilling, so enigmatic. You never quite figure him out, which makes him even more terrifying.
He brings this unsettling calmness to the role. He's not your typical villain. He's complex, flawed with his own motivations.
And the chemistry between him and Choi Min-sik, electric. You can feel the tension, the hatred, but also this strange sense of connection.
They're two sides of the same coin, bound together by this twisted game of revenge.
And let's not forget Kang Ha-young is Mi-do. She's not just a love interest, she's a complex character in her own right, caught up in this web of manipulation.
She brings a sense of humanity to the film, a reminder that even in the darkest of stories, there's still room for compassion, for love.
Yeah, her character gives us hope, even in this fucked up world of Oldboy. Now, before we wrap things up, we got to talk about that ending one last time, that gut-wrenching, mind-blowing, what-the-fuck ending. I know we can't spoil it for the listeners, but can we at least talk about the ambiguity, how it leaves you with more questions than answers?
The ending is a masterstroke. It's both satisfying and unsettling. It makes you think, it makes you feel, and it stays with you long after the credits roll.
It's a film that stays with you, no doubt about that. But let's talk about the impact, right? I mean, we talked about how it influenced filmmakers. But what about culturally? This film's pretty fucked up. Did it piss anyone off back in South Korea?
Oh, yeah. It definitely stirred up some controversy. You know, pushing those boundaries, tackling taboo subjects, incest, violence, the whole shebang. Some folks found it a bit much, a bit too disturbing.
Well, that's what great art does, right? It shakes things up, makes you uncomfortable, makes you think.
Exactly. It sparks those conversations, forces you to confront those darker aspects of humanity. You can't just sweep those under the rug.
Right on. But did all that controversy hurt the film's success?
Not a chance. It was a box office hit in South Korea. People were drawn to its intensity, its originality, its sheer audacity. And let's be real, a little bit of controversy never hurt anyone, gets people talking. Free publicity.
Word. So, to sum it all up, Oldboy, it's a cinematic masterpiece, a cult classic, a film that's both beautiful and brutal, thought-provoking and disturbing. It grabs you by the throat and doesn't let go.
It really is a testament to the power of cinema, the way it can transport you to different worlds, challenge your perceptions, and leave you deeply moved.
Well said. And that brings us to the end of another deep dive. We've dissected Oldboy, explored its twisted themes, marveled at its technical brilliance, and yeah, even braved that goddamn octopus scene together.
It's been a journey, that's for sure.
After all this talk of revenge and mind games, I could really go for some dumplings right about now.
Maybe we should stick to something a bit less symbolic.
Good point. All right, folks, until next time, keep it real, keep it twisted, and for the love of all that's holy, stay out of any suspicious-looking motel rooms. And if you see a dude walking around with a hammer, run.
And remember, sometimes the best revenge is to simply live a good life.
Word. Peace out, you magnificent bastards.